The challenge to apologetics from Christians that you can't use apologetics because this is hindering the Holy Spirit comes up too frequently, not to deserve some response. I'm chuckling this because it's so surprising to me that people would raise this particular objection. For one, why would anyone think that giving a thoughtful characterization of our point of view and giving reasons why people should take this seriously, and that's what apologetics is, why would God mind that? Why would that be stifling the Holy Spirit, for goodness sake? Why would that be somehow getting in the way of anything? Now, I think the burden is first of all on the challenger to explain such a thing. I'm not going to simply assume that for me to give reasons for my view is somehow out of line. Why would they think that this is stifling the Holy Spirit? And so I want them to explain their challenge. I want them to give evidence for the challenge they've offered. Why would you think that's the case? I don't think there's any justification for this whatsoever. And quite the contrary, I'm willing to respond with some positive evidence myself. Like Jesus Christ, for goodness sake. Did Jesus ever give evidence for his views? All the time. I was just reading recently in the Gospel of Luke because I was looking at the birth narratives, and they're in the birth narratives. Now this is before Jesus, obviously, but there the Holy Spirit tells Mary she's going to conceive a child, and then explains to Mary that even her cousin is with child now 6 months, Elizabeth, the mother of John the Baptist. Why did the Holy Spirit say that? Why did the angel give that message? Because it's a point of verification. Mary can be sure she just got a message from God if she was in a position to doubt it ever, which I'm sure she must have been. She was a human being, because now she's got information she can test. When she goes to see Elizabeth, and Elizabeth is pregnant in her second trimester, just as the angel described, this is evidence that her view is actually, it's evidence that the Holy Spirit has actually spoken through that angel. How about when Jesus is in the Last Supper? I just read this the other day as well. At the Last Supper, he talks about that he's going to be betrayed by someone at the table. And what he says is, I'm telling you in advance so that you will know that my statements are true, or something to that effect. In other words, I'm making a prediction that you can see comes to pass, so you'll know that the claims I'm making are true. It's a straightforward appeal to evidence. Jesus is making an appeal by giving evidence to the disciples, but Jesus used evidence all the time. Believe me because of what Moses said about me. Believe me because of the works that I do. I mean, these are evidences. If you look in Acts chapter 2, the Holy Spirit is given on Pentecost Sunday. The sermon there is filled with evidences. Appeal to the resurrection, appeals to fulfilled prophecy, appeal to what people can see and hear, the tongues of fire, the roaring wind, all of that. John ends his gospel in chapter 20 by saying there are many other signs, that is miracles, signs, attesting miracles. These are evidences that attest to something. There are many other attesting miracles that Jesus did that are not written in this book, but these have been written so that you will believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and in believing have life in his name. What John is saying is he's just written the entire Gospel of John for the purpose of giving evidence, apologetics, that function to persuade somebody, certainly under the power of the Holy Spirit, by the influence of the Holy Spirit, but this is the thing the Holy Spirit is using nonetheless. Evidences that function to persuade people to believe. Apologetics are through and through the entire Bible, and especially the New Testament, the Gospels, the book of Acts. Why would anyone assume that these books inspired by the Holy Spirit, which in the case of Peter's letter, 1 Peter chapter 3, we're commanded to give reasons for the hope that is within us. Why would anyone think that this same Holy Spirit is somehow offended when we do what that Holy Spirit tells us to do? This is just foolishness. and it undermines the case for the gospel. Don't do it.